now. You're doing it big time. There we go. How you doing today, Sir Handsome?
Okay, doing great, doing great. Glad I woke up this morning.
100%.
I think this thing says I should say if I got it or not, and I'm getting it. Should I click on got it, get it? I got it.
For what part now?
Something that says if I got this, then I should click on it. I'm gonna click on it. Okay, I did.
You did? Okay, cool. All right. So, you ready?
Yeah. I
All
just
right.
wish you had told me to brush my teeth and all of that.
Oh, you look good, man. Nobody can.
Okay.
Nobody. Of course, I wouldn't put you out there like that. Especially since I want to make sure that everything So how we do it. I just absolutely love you. Appreciate you coming through today. And this is something we've been talking about for a good minute, huh?
Okay, we're doing okay.
Yeah, 100%.
I won't talk about brushing my teeth, combing my hair, and putting a little makeup on these little what you call it, these puffy eyes. I was barbecuing some meat yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So for everybody who doesn't know you, I want to welcome you to the one, the only Alvin Lovett, aka Alabama. How you doing, sir?
Yeah. They're doing wonderful, man. I'm glad had an opportunity to wake up this morning, and just waking up is the first thing that we need to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And it's also I'm grateful that I'm having the opportunity of speaking with you. I got a chance to meet you some almost about 20 years ago when I first entered the car business. And that's when they told me that they would not hire me because I had no experience selling automobiles. And so that was with the Chrysler Jeep uh, dealership, which also that was an ownership of a dealership of Kia.
Yep.
And but some strange reason during that particular time, Chrysler was going to go under and would not get funding because they did not have a gas or a fuel efficient vehicle. And that was a raffle in the Southern California area where they chose the dealerships that they would maintain. And Kia, Car Pros didn't win the raffle. So then I was forced to go with another company down the street, which was owned by the same owner, but it was Kia. I didn't have much faith in the Kia brand because I didn't know much about Kia, as many people in America during that time. And we're going back to 2008, approximately around 2008. And just before Obama became president, or during the time of his becoming president, and he was going to fund Chrysler, but they were looking for a fuel efficient car. Chrysler did not have that. So we were closing down, and I went with the Kia because it was a fuel efficient automobile company. However, it did not have a positive reputation because no one knew about it. And then at that point, I was accustomed to selling the American brand because I was getting people to buy America, people in America who were not knowing that Kia would become one of the biggest employers of automobile makers in the United States years to come. But at that point, we were somewhat skeptical about the name Kia.
This is such an epic call. I really do appreciate it. So for y'all who don't know, this gentleman right here, before he officially retired, it's about a year now, less than a year.
Yes, no, it's less than a year.
Yeah.
September the 2nd was my last day.
Yep. So he has been the reigning champion of selling Kias in the world. Number one sales professional in the world.
you know, that would be a debatable. Okay, yes. Wait a minute. Something, a little thing, what I need to do. Hello? Yes. Hello? Yes, I'm Alvin Lovett, and I'm approving this message. Okay? You can speak with my wife.
Okay, so thank you for that.
Okay. Yeah, that was like at home business.
There it is. There it is. He's always on the move. And even before we got on the call, she was like, he don't retire. He is not retired.
you I've sold thousands and thousands of automobiles, and it's debatable who has sold the most. Some people document their sales. Some people get quite a few half deals, and so it depends on how you're rating to determine who sold the most Kias. But I would be honored to be in that number. It may be debatable. The dealership that I work with was the number one seller of the Kia brand in the United States, which is in the world. And I was a top salesman at that dealership. So some people may say I was the number one guy in the world with Kia, and some may want to debate that because they were with dealerships that they got credit for all the other sales people at the dealership selling the automobile.
Oh,
And,
gotta approve one more thing.
wait a minute, I got to approve one more thing for the wife. We're trying to do something there. She's handling some business for me.
all
Hello?
good. And while he's doing that, so that's definitely
From Capital One Auto Finance on
Yeah.
the recorded line.
Yeah.
Can I please have your first and last name?
Okay, my first name is Alvin, last name Lovett, and you have my approval. Okay, I'm on another line
Let me
with
just
someone.
read I understand, so you are in meeting, but just give me one moment. I'll finish the authorization quickly, and then you can just give me permission, and then you can.
Yes, you have permission to talk to my wife.
No, he wanted.
I just need a permission. Let me just see the authorization.
Approval.
By requesting this payment, please confirm that you are the owner of this account being used to make this payment.
Yes, I'm the owner of this account, and I authorize the payment of this from this account. Okay,
sir.
thank you very much.
I want to.
Thank
Just one moment, sir. I want to confirm that today, August 4th.
Okay, yeah, I have to confirm the payments on some things. This guy won't let me go.
Well, if you would listen.
Yeah, because I'm doing something. I'm on a live recording.
I told you.
Hello?
I love it.
Yes.
Alabama's the realest that I know, man. He's just
$124.
always there, always on the phone.
Yes.
Processing of your debit card payment is dependent on available funds.
Yes.
The accuracy of the
Oh.
account information you provide
Yes,
is
I've already
subject to
said yes.
financial institutions' policies and procedures.
Yes.
Please say I agree to authorize this transaction.
So
I
fine.
agree with this conversation. Okay. Thank you.
sir.
All good. All good. All good. All
Hey,
good.
man.
Totally,
You know,
totally
that's-
incredible.
I still pay the bills. I'm retired, but I have to pay the bills, and we have to have that interception. I apologize for it, but
No worries, man. No worries, man. So that's one of the things that definitely we can talk about in a little bit, because it is, to your point, if you're looking at it from that viewpoint, it is hard to tell who's number one. But from a I'm shaking hands and I'm closing the deals and I got my four square and I'm doing everything that I'm doing, you have, in my humble opinion, have that honor, because as you know, I used to work with Kia. And it's one of those things where I'm super honored and thankful. Like, that's how we first met. A lot of people don't realize, like, we met when you literally first got in the car business. Like, people have no idea how this story. They're like, how does Fred know Alabama? It's like, well,
yes, it is a story. It is a story. I want to say one thing. I work with HIV/AIDS, the support of HIV/AIDS as the disease was rampant in Los Angeles. And the biggest day that I had, I joined with a group called the Black AIDS Institute, and that's with Phil Wilson. He worked with 2 presidential administrations and had offices in 36 of the largest cities in America. And we had a car that we were raffling off for anyone that would take HIV/AIDS test, which brought the unity of people doing business with Kia, because Kia showed that they cared. And I tied Kia together with the largest HIV/AIDS project in the United States. And in the process of doing that, we had a raffle and we sold 72 cars in that one day. Well, I got credited for 3 cars. So that count will never be accurate, because I couldn't handle all of the transactional paperwork for one, and they made sure that all the other salespeople at the dealership were able to get credit for sales. However, they were all my customers, and I had brought them to the dealership, and we sold 72 cars in one day. I just wanted to share that little story with you. I'm not happy with getting credit for for 3 cars. We'll discuss that at another time. But that's the way my career has been. And so we put people who would never have a new car. There were people who would buy pre-owned cars, or what we call buckets in the United States. But those are cars that are used cars that are somewhat unaffordable for many people. But in this case, they would buy used cars. And so we put them in brand new cars because Kia had the best warranty in the United States on cars at that time as we introduced Kia to the market. And in the Los Angeles community, we sold Kias like another company sold what they call IHOP, sell pancakes. We sold Kias like that all day.
All day, every day. And I'm super thankful because a lot of people don't realize that I was in that dealership with you. You were like, Fred, what are you still doing here? I'm like, hey, we selling on the front and we closing on the back as well, because that's what we were doing, just literally selling cars, like you said, candy bars, and kept it moving. And the thing about it is a lot of people don't understand like the dynamics of like how you're able to really focus and like really do it for so long. What do you think the secret to your success has been?
The secrets of my success has to be my Lord and Savior, who I was introduced to at a very early age in life. And I know that he's the source of me knowing how to get up after getting knocked down. And it takes those failures in our lives to help shape and mold our successes. And so if you don't know how to get up, then it's going to be problematic in your life. But if you have enough trust and faith to know that you can get up, and the other thing is that you know that you can help somebody along the way, then those are the ingredients that's necessary to have the will within yourself to keep going and keep believing and keep hoping and keep helping people. And Kia happen to have a product that's constructed well enough to allow us to get those people who would normally not have a car. If we can get them behind the driving wheel, then, we're blessed. And I was so thankful for both Kia coming in and being available to be that tool, and then the people willing to trust me and know that I would be honest with them. I would tell them the truth. I would not lie, and I would not sell them a product that was not worthy of their driving. And Kia met the test.
Wow, 100%. And that's one of the things I really wanted to go a little bit deeper into you with, because a lot of people don't understand the dynamics of the car game, right? They know that it's like a super complex industry, but you've been able to just not only be relatively stable, like you hardly ever moved around, but you were absolutely able to have unprecedented success. And I'm going to say that because I know you're so humble and you won't. But the reality of it is, like, literally you had a chance to meet not only every top person in LA, but you've touched people around the world, man. Tell us a little bit more about that dynamic. Like, what inspired you to really move in this direction? Because it's a huge direction, brother.
Well, it was just amazing that I've met most of the presidents of Kia. They came to the dealership, our presidents, and they wanted to talk with me, and I engaged in conversation with them. I was honored to know that I was with a company that the top of the company was interested in talking to a guy who lived in South Central, right off in a town called Compton. And it was just fascinated me that they would pay attention to me. I was honored to also have a leader who owned the dealership by the name of Ken Phillips, who gave me an idea that you can sell cars and help people at the same time. And most car salesmen tend to think that I got to make this commission. I got to get this higher amount of gross so that I can get paid and take a check home. Well, I never thought in terms of how much money I need to make. I always thought about how many people I could help. There's a big difference in trying to help as many people as you can because you don't always get the high commission. Sometimes the deals are many deals, what we call in the car business, or deals that have low profit. And but if you can help, the more people that you help, the more people that you tell, the more people that you sell. And so if you're not greedy, you can help a lot more people, and there's more people. So there was actually an army of people who would tell people to buy their car, not just from Kia, but get that car from Alvin, Alabama, Lovett at Kia, so, because he would make sure that you would be dealt with honesty, with integrity, and that there would be no subterfuge in that buying process. You know, that's the problem with other car people, people throughout the industry. They're just so greedy about making that extra dollar that they miss out on having a friend. And it's a good thing to have a friend at a car dealership. Trust me, that's still good today.
And they can take that to the bank. Super facts. So for somebody who's just now getting into the game, because that's what I see as well. Like I never told anybody this story publicly ever. So I figured I'd share it with one of my best friends in the game, you. Literally, that's how I got into the car business, was because I got ripped off as a consumer. My wife at that time was pregnant. I was in the Marine Corps. I had no wherewithal as to how to even buy a car. All I know is that I needed a car because I was in military school at that time. So I needed some transportation. And literally, just to fast forward that whole story, literally, I saw the same dealership on 2020. And I was like, I popped up out of the bed. My wife was like, what's going on? I was like, that's the place where I got my car from. Like, I can't believe it. Like, legit, it's on TV. And I said, you know what? I want to make a difference. And that's legit how I got into the car game, was because I didn't want anybody else to go through that. And this was before CSI. This was before, like, it was still the wild west, where you could just charge anything you wanted. 24 add-on for my finance people back in the day. So, well, 12 add-on, but it's just like, you know, all of these things that I had to learn to be able to make a complete difference. And to your point, I didn't focus in on the money. I focused in on helping people, like really helping people, like for real. How do you think people in this current 2023 and beyond is that something that's old school despite technology? Is it something that still works? What are your thoughts as far as like new people getting into the game and how they can just really build their business within a business?
Yeah, I tell you, it's the technology has taken the human touch out of the business to an extent. And so it takes a special person to want to feel the person's need and help fulfill the need. I'm going to deviate a little bit, and I hope you don't hurt me too bad, because I want to say something. When I got into business, and I noticed that you mentioned that you had military service, I respect military service. One of my first customers during the first month when I was in the business was a gentleman who was in the military. He was in the Marines. He was a colonel. He wanted to trade in his van. I think he had a town and country van. And I told him that he could keep his trade. He had served in Desert Storm. Keep your trade. I'm just going to and help somebody with that trade. I'm going to give you a great deal on the car that you're buying, which is a brand new town and country. Well, he got that car. After he bought the brand new town and country, we didn't put the trade in the transaction. And he came back and he gave me the pink slip with my name on it, saying, I want you to have this town and country. Well, I thought that was a trick. I'm from the South, and I don't want to elaborate too much on that. But as an African American, and a guy want to give me a trade, and I'm new at the dealership, I didn't want the dealership to think that I was doing something that was not productive. You know, in other words, talking the customer into giving me their trade, and I would still get them a discount. But so I reported that to the owner of the dealership, Ken Phillips, and told him that this man put my name on the pink slip, and I want to make sure that they get it back and get it corrected. And he told me, Ken Phillips asked me to keep the car. Well, naturally, I thought I had a car, so the next day, the good Lord sent a agency in called His Sheltering Arms that picked up the homeless people in South Central. And he said they needed a car. So quickly, I got the car refurbished. The mechanics in the dealership fixed it up. We let that car be donated to His Sheltering Arms. It picked up the homeless people for 10 years in South Central. And I was able to help somebody. And just that feeling of knowing that I can help people who are homeless be able to get transportation to go and do what they need to get back on their feet gave me a feeling of good self-worth. I mean, it's that type of feeling that if you possess that feeling that you want to really truly help someone, and then the car industry is the place that you can do a lot of good. And if you're that kind of person, then even though you may want to earn a little income, that goes with the territory if you move cars. But there's that feeling of knowing that you can help somebody and still make a good living. is what it's about. So that's kind of my answer to your question.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
yeah, 100% makes sense. Totally in alignment with my thought process as well. Let's give Ken and the whole family their flowers, man. I mean, seriously, that's an amazing experience that I have with Ken, and definitely miss him. I'd love to reconnect because it was just something about him. Like even when I first met him, you know, I didn't have a big ego because he's definitely the guy, right? And that's really one of the times where when I met him, I met you first and then I met him because I was literally at one point in time working across the street at Don Cock Ford. so from there I wound up working with, you know, the financing insurance company. And the thing about it with Ken, and one thing I liked about him is that he's very real. He's very spot on. He's very observant. He's very awake, you know. And the thing about it is just to watch his compassion, and he'll take care of you. And that expectation was you take care of the community. So I definitely wanted to send him a shout out in front of you as well if he happens to see this, because I really do appreciate him and the whole family. So through your personal experiences, as far as how his influence influenced you as well as the community, how are you seeing, what did you see during your whole career, how that trickle, that drop just spread across everywhere, Compton, Long Beach, Carson, LA proper, you know, and you have even Korean execs coming in, because remember I was also on the Kia side as well as the Hyundai side. So what was your experience from that viewpoint?
I met the person who started at the bottom. So he was a person who didn't enter Kia as a well-financed guy. He was a person who was a salesman who connected with helping schools who bought a car from him. And he shared that story with me and gave me permission and the latitude to go and do things. So I got to give the highest respect, doubling up on what you say, to Ken Phillips, the owner of Car Pros, Kia, in Carson, California, as the source who became the top Kia dealership in the world. And he allowed me the latitude of doing those things that it took, that I saw within our community. And I sincerely exposed the African American community to buying Kias, and which helped launch him to the top of the world. And so we need to always remember that. That's a part of history. Now all nationalities buy the Kia across the board, particularly from those dealerships. But Ken Phillips, and I want to say his name one more time, Ken Phillips, thank you for giving Alvin, Alabama, Lovett, the opportunity of being himself and allowing me to do what I do. And he's allowed me to donate automobiles to HIV/AIDS awareness, and he's gave me the opportunity to ride in automobiles in the Martin Luther King Day parade to expand the market that we had, allowed me to work our cars with the LA Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers, all the great basketball teams in the largest market in the world as far as the United States is concerned. And also allowed me to work with Hollywood, Blake Griffin, and other people in the basketball players and athletes, Magic Johnson, and all of the Hollywood stars that you can name. Is just awesome. And I've touched bases with them, and they supported what we've done. The people with the Empire, Taraja Henson, and the Bill Cosby wife, and you name it, Dionne Warwick, who worked with HIV/AIDS, and Danny Glover, and I can start naming now, and it'll be unfair for me to just not name them all, but they all helped me to reach our market, and particularly Tammy Mack, who works with Stevie Wonder's radio station, KJLH radio. It's just awesome to know how many people have worked with me, even pastors of the largest churches in Los Angeles who preach their 11 o'clock sermons, telling people about a guy named Alvin, Alabama, Lovett. You know, it's just, you know, when God gets in the mix and then he lifts you up, then I have to lift all of the people up. And I tell you, the buyers are some of the greatest people in the world in the Los Angeles market. And it is spread it all over those other cities across America, in the 36 largest cities that were sponsored by the HIV/AIDS network throughout the United States. It's just been an awesome feeling being Alvin, Alabama, Lovett. And I'm so thankful that I got a chance to meet Fred Smith. And I'm getting a chance to see you again. Thank you, Guy, because you gave me the encouragement and the training. And I just want you to know, thank you. God used you to help make me one of the greatest salesmen in the United States. And without your help, it could not have happened.
I was not expecting that out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. God used you. And he's using you right now. And I just can't, if I could speak 10,000 words, it wouldn't be enough to say how grateful I am for what you've done for my life. And because you allowed me to do what I needed to do through your training, coming to the dealership, just giving us the training. Some of the best trained salesmen in the United States of America came through your training. And you know, that's unbelievable. And so it's extraordinary. And I don't know what God is going to carry us through what we're doing right now, but I know that he can do all things. And we're going to do great things. And we're going to help a lot of people in what we're doing. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm on your side.
Wow. I'm truly, I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I'm so glad and I'm honored and thankful that I had a chance to go to your retirement. I also had a chance to meet up with Shirley again. Shirley's another real one out here. Shout out to Shirley. You know, it's really a family feel when you're talking at this level, and that's what people don't understand. It's just like I loved, you know, like that's my bones. People don't understand. Like they don't understand. Like I put in work, like real work, and I just never talked about it. And it's just one of those things where I'm super thankful and honored that we had a chance to really connect when you first got here, because I remember your story like yesterday, man. Like I remember exactly how we met up. I remember the environment. I remember that it was overcast, slightly rainy in Southern California, which is super rare. And here you come up at me.
Hey, let me interject one thing, because you said Shirley Jones. Most people don't know her, but she's a little lady that met Ken Phillips at his office when he was starting the Kia dealership. She opened the door, saw him in there trying to set up a file folders for the dealership. And he says, oh, no, he looked up and saw this little young lady coming in there. He says, I don't know you. And he said, no, I don't need any help. And so she left, and the next day or two or whatever from the story, she came back. And eventually he says, okay, yes, I'll take your help setting up these files. And the next thing you know, she became a secret enabler of mine for programs. She even had her children folding letters and making flyers and putting them in envelopes to help me, because she saw the enthusiasm and energy, and she believed in what we were trying to do. And she's that secret behind the success of the largest dealership in the United States. She's their secret weapon. And but she was also nice to guys like you who came in talking about finances. And so we just want to throw a Shirley hello and thank you, Shirley, out there for the both of us. And I'll go back to you, because
Yeah,
without
100%.
Shirley,
Yeah,
without Shirley, I don't know if you would have been able to get in there. But some kind of way, through God's mercy and through his grace, you got in there, and then they were able to use your skills and your talents to help make us better.
Yeah, 100%.
We
Shout out to
became,
Shirley. Yeah,
we became the best in the world.
yeah.
And whatever we're about to do right now, we're about to become the best again in the world. We already know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Stand by for traffic. Because that's what it is, and I also want to send a shout out to my mentor as well. Shout out to Dave Gonzalez, because that's what he first taught me when I got into the car business. He said, get out of the car business and get into the people business, and that is just so essential these days. Like people don't understand that it is not. It's a metal industry, but it's still humans who absolutely run the machines. I mean, it's one of those things where it's still low tech, believe it or not. Like me and you, like, look, I struggle with Zoom to this day. I struggle with a lot of things like AI. I happen to be in an insane ad tech lane, which we'll talk about later, like advertising technology. It's 27 years ahead of its time, bro. I'm like, I don't even pop up here. Shout out to Jesse and everybody. I'm just like, look, and now we're literally changing the world, to your point, by elevating people and continuing these conversations, because this is another season in our life. This is another chapter. This is really God's will. Like, I don't like, look, like I'm just like you. Me and you, we pick up, we talk, we text, we do what we do, and it's just one of those things where we are connected, and we're connected at the heart, because that's one of the things that I really want people to understand is that regardless of where the technology is, it's still about soft people skills. It's still about caring about people. I'm first generation Northerner. I don't know if you knew that, Alabama. Like literally, all my family's from down south. So Enterprise, Alabama, and I'm literally first generation Northerner from. Yeah,
Wow. I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. Enterprise, Alabama. Yep. So I still talk to my Aunt May May, and she's like, "Hey baby, nice picture." I updated my picture on Facebook. "Hey baby, nice picture." And these are the kind of things that inspire me and keep me smiling and motivated, because sometimes what people have to understand is that if you're a quote unquote broke, you're not really doing what God wants you to do. And I'm very serious about that. Like literally all the connections that I have are from legitimate people who really had a need. And I was what they call a servant leader. I've had to learn all of these terms. I didn't know what it was even called. I just knew that somebody needed help. I helped them, and I'm happy when people grow. I'm happy when people like get out there. Like I had one girl who came over to the house, and she's just like, she took my training, and she already made $500,000 before she had even met me. She's just like, thank you. I'm like, thank you. Like, I like, how are you? Like, are you sharing? Like, and then people ask me, they're like, what's the secret? I'm like, it's real simple. You just have to be a giver in a taker's market. That's it. Just be a giver in a taker's market. Stay centered, stay focused, stay humble, stay in your prayers, and just keep everybody else in your prayers as well. Because I do believe that one drop that God puts out here on this planet can make that tsunami thousands and thousands of miles away. So, and I'm really honored and thankful that we have had this conversation. I really was not expecting it.
Yeah. But just the other day, I went to Atlanta and I passed by the Kia plant that's right across the state line, West Point, Georgia. And I got to thinking about that. But before I got to Georgia, I had to go through a town called Montgomery, Alabama. And then going through Montgomery, I had to think about Rosa Parks. And then I thought about Martin Luther King. And then I thought about, the where I am. And I did television here in Mobile for over 10 years with an NBC affiliate. And I've done time on a radio station for a number of years. And I worked with so many people who cared about people that I got a chance one day to meet a guy named Ellis Haley when I was in college. And he was trying to write a book about the roots and his heritage, but he needed a little help finding the name of a word of a guitar. And as a leader on the campus, we had a soul food dinner and we raised funds. We gave Ellis Haley money. He could make a trip to Africa. He found out where his family was from. And then he did a movie series called Roots, which helped to bring America back together. I'm so happy to be a part of those stories. I'm in the hometown of Hank Aaron, the greatest home run hitter of all time. And I'm in the same state that Hyundai is in right now. So I'm in the midst of all of this greatness. It's so exciting to be a part of what we're doing today. And I know that we're going to help take this thing to a whole nother level. It's just that we're in the right place. This is the right time to do the right thing, and the best way to do the right thing is to do what we're doing right now.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more on that, man. Through your vision, through what you're seeing for the future, because even I want to send a shout out to Jim Moran. He was another billionaire who I'd met, and very amazingly humble guy. Some tremendous stories about Mr. Moran. Had a chance to like really, really meet him. And I remember asking him, and this is how I feel. I have not felt this way since I first met him. So this is how inspiring this conversation really is. And I said, sir, you have this tremendously amazing company. Like you really have all of these people who just absolutely love what they're doing. They love the mission. They love the journey. Multi-billion-dollar company. It wasn't even about the money. Like he still drove the same car. Like, that's what people don't understand. Like he was still super 100. Didn't matter what it was. Everything went back to the people. And I just asked him. I said, where? And I'm going to ask you the same question. But literally, I just want to send a shout out, since you sent a shout out to Ken. Is literally like, hey, what do you see like us doing? Like, what do you see the future? And he said, Fred, He said, the world is your oyster. You can make it as big or as small as you want. So I want to submit to you, sir. What do you see? Because you're still out here in LA. You know, your energy, your spirit, your drive. I'm physically out here, you know, and I'm just now coming out of a lot of stuff that I had to just, because my mindset, as you know, like I've been through a lot, you know, even from the military, PTSD, a lot of stuff creeping in, all the way up to just playing at the highest levels in the car game. And I'm not used to talking like this. Like, this is so awkward for me, but I know that I have to. So what do you see as far as like the vision? Like what do you see as a journey? Like, what do you want to continue out here in LA that I can support since I'm out here personally? What do you see as the vision and the journey?
I just see that we have to fight the technology component of the way our lives are going right now, and to take time to step out of being impersonal and becoming personal, and taking on this mantle that I can make a difference, and realizing that if it is to be, it's up to me to make a difference, and that there's room for improvement. And if we fall down, that we can get up again, and that we need to reach out and touch somebody, and that we can help somebody, and that there's room. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. We need to tap into that room where we can help and make a difference. And then there's hope for people who want to be somebody and want to make a difference with their lives. And through this automobile industry, if you want to come into this industry, I think this is a great time to come in this industry. And then you can still reach out and touch people and invite them to enjoy the best cars in America. Is the Kia car or the Hyundai car, with the warranties. That's the best warranties in America in a car. That helps put a ceiling under or a bottom to how much a person will have to pay after they buy the car, because they can be protected. So I just think that this is a great time to be alive. We can get confused with all of the weather, climate changes, and all of that kind of stuff, and get discouraged. But don't get discouraged. Look up, look beyond the clouds, because behind the clouds, there's still sunshine. And always know that the sun still shines. It comes up in the east and it sets in the west. You know, those things aren't going to change, even though a lot of other things change all of the time. Keep hope going in your life.
Couldn't agree with you more. And definitely, that was one of the other reasons why I had started what we were doing earlier, to your point, because I have that same vision. Like, literally, I was looking at an IBM white paper about a few weeks back, and the top 10 things that people need today and the biggest in this technology world are all soft people skills. All of them. Mm-hmm. All of them are soft people skills. Yeah. And it goes right back to what my mentors told me and what you've done. It's just get out of that business and get into the people business. It needs to be high tech and high touch, you know. Yes. And I think when people really understand that dynamic, because I even had a gentleman ask me last week, he's like, hey, Fred, you know, is AI evil? Is it going to destroy the planet? I said, well, there you will have people who will always mess technology up. You're usually going to have people who are always going to be on the other side of that duality, you know, like I know for a fact, I use Chat GPT. I use it super efficiently. I know how to think through things. And I think that's another lost skill, is literally the art of thinking through things and really being able to use discernment, learning how to become more of a critical thinker, not a critical person, learning how to really understand that other people have their mess as well. So to really be like a really compassionate leader, somebody who wants to really help people for real. And you can't help everybody. Listen, I'm that guy in the Marine Corps. The first thing they told me, because I did broadcasting as well, they said, and I learned in the Marine Corps, and they were just like, hey, look, here's the things we want you to remember. Number one, the microphone is always on. And number two, always act as if you're speaking to like 8 billion people. And they said 8 billion at that time. This was back in 1996. So I've just taken that whole mindset and just always been understanding that everybody's guilty, no one's to blame. Like, we have to break this vicious cycle at some point in time. And I was able to facilitate that in the car business. It's one of the reasons why I got into the car game originally, because I'm like, look, I said, I'm pretty smart. And if I can't figure this out, I can only imagine how somebody else is literally gambling when they go to a dealership. They're uncertain. They don't know. It could be their last $5,000 down. I actually, and a lot of people don't even know this, I was a GSM at Crenshaw Motors Ford for a while as well, with some GM responsibilities. So that was one of the things. I'm about the community, literally just being able to serve. And I think you're spot on as far as just like what you see happening next. Like, people just have to just take a deep breath. Use this thing right here. It's called the phone, and let's just start pushing buttons just to say hi to people first. Yeah. And that's how me and you have always played. Like, it doesn't matter. It's either text or a phone call, period. This is our real first like Zoom call ever. So
yes.
But that's how you stay sharp, by literally having human communication. So,
when I got in this business, they said stand outside of the dealership and just say red car coming in, green car coming in. And the first one that will say green car comes in and the green car comes in, that's who approaches the customer. I told Ken Phillips, I don't think that's going to work out for me, because after they come in, then someone else will say, well, I was late calling that person's car. And so then they would end up getting the customer. And I said, well, let me go and get the customers myself. So I got a chance to go and talk with people in the community. And then I would always rest no day without me talking to 200 people. And if you talk to 200 people every day, somebody's going to buy a car from you eventually. And and I always will let them know, they don't have to buy a car when they come in, but I just want them to come in and ask for Alabama. And then that will give me the opportunity to meet them. And we'll talk about whatever they wanted to talk about. We can talk about their kids and how they're doing in school. We can talk about, the beauty of them having a job where they work, or what's happening in their community. But we got a chance to know each other. And once we got a chance to know each other, then we always talk with each other when they came. And sometimes they came to get a car, so we talked then too. But so it's getting to know people and understand people, and to sell yourself and not necessarily to sell the car.
Yeah, 100%. And one more thing, because I definitely want to wrap up with this one specifically. What do you think is the key ingredient to anybody really keeping that burning desire to go through so many objections and like being resilient? Because we have a high turnover rate still in this industry. It's still beyond 70%, right? So you have people like me and you who have survived the industry, have grown in the industry, have touched and blessed millions of people, quite frankly. What do you think if somebody wants to get to that level? Because that's like the equivalent of like Olympian type stuff versus somebody going to the gym and they have to start out with those silver weights. What do you think that the fastest thing that you can tell them, like literally if you only had like 2 minutes to talk to this person who was brand new, that you can compress so that they would really be able to get a quick brain transplant?
No, everyone can't handle no. And so some people that enter the industry, they're not in the right industry. They may be a misfit for this particular industry. So you have to know how to accept no. But no always gives me more information so that I can know how to go about getting the yes. And so so my expectations have to be realistic. You talk with people, you find out what they're interested in, and you'll get yes. Now, if you take 1 grain of corn and you plant 1 grain of corn in the ground, you're not going to get enough corn to feed everyone in the neighborhood. So you have to be realistic that something is going to happen with that 1 grain of corn or that 1 seed. So you have to plant enough seeds to get the yeses that you need. And so if you get a big sack of corn and then you plant a sack of corn, then you may be able to have enough corn for maybe 3 or 4 houses to eat. If you get a train load of corn, then you may be able to plant acres of corn, and definitely everyone in the house will eat corn. Plus, there'll be enough corn for the city. So you have to have that realistic concept that one, just getting a no shouldn't destroy you. That's just telling you what that, how to get, find out what the real objection is that that person have. So you have to be realistic. You have to know that if you plant corn today, a seed today, you will not have a field of corn tomorrow. You have to be realistic. You're not going to have, you might not even have a plant to sprout in the next few days. It may take a week or 2 weeks before you get a sprout. It may take another month before you have a stalk. It may take another month, a month and a half before you have little corn, ears of corn on the stalk. So be very, very realistic. Look at how Ecclesiastes tells us biblically that there's a time to sow and a time to harvest. So you got to put the planting in place first before you can get the harvest. So you have to understand that realism, that it takes time. Everything happens within a season. So be willing to plant and spend your time planting. When I say planting, talking and developing people that you can talk to first. And then if you take that time and do an adequate job of that, then another season will come when you do your watering, your nurturing, you're pulling the weeds, you getting the ones that the birds don't steal, and or the squirrels don't take, or the water washing away, floating it down to the other part of the street. So every seed you plant will not grow. And so you have to be very realistic, very methodic, and understand what you're doing and what this industry entails, and give yourself adequate time for everything to happen in its season. So I just think that you have to be a little tenacious about what you want to do and how you're going to accomplish it, because you can't finish college, 4 years of college, by going to class one time.
That is a bar, sir. That is a bar. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I know we're just getting started. I'm truly thankful, honored, and really blessed and grateful for this conversation, man. You have really, wow, man.
I thank you.
Awesome. Well, stay on the line. I want to make sure that everybody knows that, we really, if they got any questions, thoughts, or concerns, they can come check out the Facebook group. Because like I said, I started up the Facebook group like I was telling you. So they can go to speedscaling.com and check that out. I have some very specific information there for people who are starting, no matter where they're at, whether they're literally starting up, trying to get into the business, or they're trying to start up a business online. Like, you know how my mind works. So I can just see the whole thing, and people just don't understand. I'm just like, my mind, the way God has my mind working, yeah. I can just see it, and it's just totally incredible. But no, seriously, thank you so much. And if people want to get a hold of you, like we already talked about that, they can go over here. We'll talk to, or if you want to talk to them directly, do you still tell me, how do you want people to connect with you?
310-528-0046, Alvin, Alabama, Lovett.
Give it to him one more time.
310-528-0046. And I answers my phone. That's what most salesmen don't do. Their phones go to the answering machine. I answers my phone. Just a while ago, when we first started this conversation, someone called me. I had to pause this interview and says, answer those questions. Yes, with my wife. I answers the phone, so you can get me. Now, that's the difference in the winners and the losers. I answers the phone.
We out here in these streets still, doesn't matter. So yes, definitely hit him up on his cell. The other side of this, however y'all want to handle it, but we talked about as well. However you want to facilitate it, brother. I'm gonna follow your lead, but they can also go to speedscaling.com, join our free Facebook group. And I know we had started one back in the day. We'll reactivate that as well. And super honored and thankful to just have you in my life. You mean the world to me, and I'm just super honored and thankful that we've had this conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As I write this book, Alabama Buttermilk.
And yeah, talk about the book, please. Yeah, 100%. Please You happen to have a copy of it on you right now?
Okay, no, it's in the process of being completed, and it just tells about the hardships that created the winning in my life. So we can't win unless we have hardships. Sometimes we got to fall down, but we can get back up again. And so that's what Alabama Buttermilk is about, and it's how Car Pros Kia became the #1 dealership in the world.
Yeah, 100%. If I can find another flyer, I'll scan that as well. You may already have copies of it, but I definitely want people to check that out. 100%.
I'll get it to you.
Yeah, please. And I'll throw that in my email sequence for us, so that way they can contact you directly. So,
okay.
All right, guys, we got to run. I'm gonna chop it up a little bit with Alabama. Definitely, thank you for all of those jewels that you dropped. More to come.
Love you.
Love you, brother. For real.
That's what we need. More love.
Yes, 100%.
Kick that hate to the curb.
Yeah, 100%. So, all good, and we'll chat with y'all soon.
God bless you.